morning, John.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, it's every other week except for this one.
I thought he had his hand out for money, but he's here for money he's already getting. Good morning. We're here for our weekly Marion County Board of Commissioners. I've got a little bit of feedback here going on this morning. But it is Wednesday, June 5th, 2024. We're here in the Senator Hearing Room at 555 Court Street Northeast. And as always, we start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you please join us? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We got sunshine on our shoulders this morning.
Yeah,
Beautiful
it
out
finally
there.
came out, huh?
Yeah. Trying to have my personality today catch up with the weather. Okay. Our first item on our agenda today is we are going to recess from the Board of Commissioners meeting, and we're going to open a contract review board meeting. And we have an item under that that is community service to consider approval of an order of a sole source procurement to enter into a contract for services with Willamette Workforce Partnership for administration of the Marion County Youth Employment Grant Program. And I don't know, is Toby, there's Toby right there, and Kelly and Ryan. I have three people. We only have two of the three today. Okay.
For today.
Well, if we can't do this with just the two of you, then we're in trouble.
I think we've got it covered.
Okay, welcome.
For the record, Toby Giddings, Contracts and Procurement Manager, Finance Department. Pursuant to Oregon Revised Statute 279B075 and Marion County Public Contracting Rule 20-0275, Community Services is seeking approval from the Contract Review Board to conduct a sole source procurement, which will enable us to enter into a contract for services with Willamette Workforce Partnership for the administration of the Marion County Youth Employment Grant Program. The first step of the process was to document that these services are only available from one source. Our method to document that process is to issue a request for information on the Cobblestone Gateway and on Oregon Buy, stating our belief that Willamette Workforce Partnership is the only entity able to provide this service, with a request for anyone who believes otherwise to reach out and let us know. After a posting of 7 days, no responses were received. The second step is to bring that documentation to this board and seek approval to move forward with the process. Should we receive approval to move forward, the third step will be to post the approved determination on the Cobblestone Gateway and Oregon Buys for 7 days, giving the public an opportunity to protest the determination. If no protests are received or none are upheld, we will then be able to enter into a contract pursuant to this method. Do you have any questions?
Any questions?
I'm just glad you're going through all that. I don't know, man, that was a maze.
Yeah. Kelly, anything to add to that?
No, but I could talk a little bit about the program if we'd like, or we can save that for the next
I
step.
think we should, we can talk about it next time. We need to facilitate this process, and unless the commissioners, you want to hear about it today.
I'm fine.
Yeah, because it's a good program, we know that, but we'd spend some time when we actually approve the contract, huh? Because they'll probably be here. Okay? Well, with that, we'll take a motion.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve an order for a sole source procurement to enter into a contract for services with Willamette Workforce Partnership for administration of the Marion County Youth Employment Grant Program.
I second the motion.
In a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we will adjourn from the Contract Review Board, and we will come back to our regular Marion County Board of Commissioners meeting. And our next item today is public comment. And we have Sophia, if you want to come up first, and I don't know if you all want to come up. You can start over here on this side if you would. Sean, if you wanted to join Sophia, or do you want to come up afterwards? Okay, great.
Do the rest of your folks in the hallway want to come in? There's a handful of them out there.
Just, yeah, if you want to.
I invited them and they didn't want to come, I guess. I'm just letting you know they're welcome.
Just introduce yourself for the record, please. Thank you. Welcome.
For the record, my name is Sophia Damiani. I am an epidemiologist with the Communicable Disease Program.
Could you pull the microphone a little bit down
A little
for me?
bit closer.
Yeah,
There we
thank
go.
you.
Better? Okay.
Yep.
In our public health division, and I have come to discuss the benefits of a hybrid schedule as someone that worked nearly the entirety of the COVID-19 pandemic from my home. This work option allowed us more flexibility in meeting the needs of our community. We worked efficiently and effectively serving the community during this time. Additionally, this option served us well during a large ice storm that we experienced during the pandemic, where those who had internet and power worked. We did so in fulfillment of FAB Measure 2.2.2A, located on page 70, specifically required element C, which indicates that the continuity of operations plan provide alternate locations in the state of emergency, or the ability to work remotely if that work allows. And historically, we have shown that much of it can be done remotely, not only for the Communicable Disease Program, but for other programs as well. More recently, however, since the required return to exclusively in-person work, we have not been able to fulfill this particular component in its entirety. While I'm sure that many of us are absolutely grateful for the pay that we received during the administrative leave days in the ice storm of 2024, over having to use our personal vacation days, many of us were still willing and able to work remotely during the ice storm, but it wasn't permitted. This meant avoidable disruption in the services provided to our community. Another example would be when we had disruption of power at Penn Sloop. I was faced with using vacation time or finding something that required no power or internet to perform. So I read from binders in our office in the dark. I was able and willing to work from home that day as well, but was again denied. It is this rigidity that is costing us staff, which then costs this community money, having to spend time and money hiring and training staff who are continuing to leave us in favor of flexibility, a flexibility that has been afforded to contracted staff at Marion County. And it's, I think, important to note as well that the cost of retaining an employee is much lower than hiring a new one. Lastly, there are comparable counties and the Oregon Health Authority that allow hybrid work options. There is ample evidence that our work can and has been done well working remotely. So in closing, I would ask that the union-supported demand for a hybrid work option be granted in light of all of the reasons I provided today and just so many more that we don't have the time to cover during our time together. Time which, again, I thank you for giving us the opportunity to.
Great. Thank you for being here. Appreciate your service. Could we not make a lot of noise so we can keep going? We got a lot of people who are going to sign up for public comment. Thank you. Okay, Sean, your turn. Good morning again. Welcome.
Good morning. My name is Sean Murphy. I'm an addiction recovery mentor with Health and Human Services. Thank you for gathering here today to discuss the evolution of our work environment, particularly the increasing related hybrid work model. I want to address three critical aspects of this model: its cost to the employer, work-life balance, and impact on business operations and customer service. Cost to the employer. Implementing a hybrid work environment can lead to significant cost savings for our organization, according to a report by Global Workplace Analytic. Employers can save an average of $11,000 per year for each employee who works remotely half of the time. These savings stem from reduced office space requirements, lower utility bills, and decreased spending on in-office amenities. Furthermore, companies have reported a 25% reduction in absenteeism as remote work options allow employees to manage personal and health-related issues without taking time off work. Work-life balance. One of the most profound benefits of a hybrid work model is its productive impact on work-life balance. A study by Owl Labs in 2023 found that remote workers report a 22% increase in happiness compared to their in-office counterparts. Additionally, 77% of remote employees say they feel more productive when working from home. attributing this to fewer distractions and a more comfortable work environment. This balance leads to higher job satisfaction and lower turnover rate, ultimately benefiting both employees and the organization. Business operations and customer service. A hybrid work model can enhance our business operations and customer service capabilities. Remote work offers flexibility, allowing us to optimize operations by reducing overhead costs and reallocating resources to critical areas. According to a study by McKinsey & Company, a globally recognized management consulting firm, organizations that have adopted hybrid models reported 20% increase in operational efficiency. Regarding customer service, the hybrid model allows us to extend service hours beyond the traditional 9 to 5, ensuring we meet our customers' needs in various time zones. A survey by Gartner found that 85% of businesses that adopted a hybrid work model reported improvements in customer satisfaction. Remote work can reduce response times by employees, as employees can promptly address customer inquiries from home without commuting delays. By leveraging digital tools and communication platforms, our team can maintain high service standards, leading to increased customer loyalty and satisfaction. In conclusion, the hybrid work model offers substantial cost savings, enhances work-life balance, and improves business operations and customer service. By embracing this model, we can create a more flexible, efficient, and satisfied workforce, driving our organization towards greater success. And I'm reading this for Cody Stewart, who could not make it today for medical reasons, and he works for IT. Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you. Okay, Alice Robinson.
Actually, there's one on there that said D, but it was for Deidre.
Okay. Deidre? And then if you could just spell your name so I can write that down here, Deidre.
Certainly.
And your address.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Leadership. For the record, my name is Deirdre Mahoney Clark, Deirdre. I've worked for 5.5 years for Marion County in Business Services Administration as an accounting specialist. I appear before you today as an engaged employee and a proud union member to speak about our mutual objectives, fulfilling Marion County's mission, vision, and county motto. Our mission: we serve the public, protect, promote, and enhance a positive quality of life in Marion County. Our vision statement: Marion County is a healthy, safe, and vibrant place to live and work. And finally, the Marion County motto is delivering excellence every day. Our Marion County Statement of Values, which you may find on our BOC webpage in the published 2023 Strategic Plan, describes treating our customers and each other with, among other things, respect, dignity, fairness, and understanding. Also, that we hire, train, and develop our employees to be knowledgeable and expert in their respective roles. We strive for the highest level of accuracy and quality in carrying out our responsibilities to the public. So those mission, vision, and motto are great stones for us to stand on. Our union is made up of the employees who work delivering excellence every day for this board to achieve the county's mission and vision. Now, our work contract between the union employees and Marion County is in bargaining. The union proposals on the table for wage, health benefit adjustments, and hybrid work ability are reasonable and financially viable for the county. I think we heard some of those numbers just a minute ago. Marion County is a local government in competition for qualified staff with the City of Salem and the State of Oregon. Our wages and benefits are not attractive compared to these entities, as evidenced by the lack of qualified applicants for open jobs, applicants rejecting job offers, the number of ongoing vacancies, and the loss of staff moving to other employment with better benefits and wages. Your employees, my union sisters and brothers, continue the work supporting the citizens of Marion County, understaffed, paid less, and with lower benefits and working options than workers doing the same type of jobs in other government positions. Acknowledging hybrid work schedules, paid health care, and wages equitable to the competing agencies is our ask. Let us respect the dignity of our employees, use fairness and understanding at the bargaining table. Bring us into today's work environment with the ability to hire and retain people you expect to be knowledgeable and expert in their roles. Thank you for your time today. I hope you consider my words and work with the management team to come back to the bargaining table ready to meet our proposals.
Thank you. All right. Alice, did you want to,
Excuse me, Board of Commissioners, we have one more that signed up.
well, I've got a list going, but your name's on the list. Did you want to testify?
She'll be going last, Board of Commissioners.
Alice?
Yes. She'll be going last.
Okay. And I have Amanda Farah.
Good morning,
Good
everyone.
morning. Welcome.
I have been an employee with Marion County.
Please introduce yourself for the record.
Amanda Farrar.
Thank you.
I have been an employee with Marion County for over 4 years, and I have really loved working for Marion County and working to help the community that we serve. By day, I am a loyal Marion County employee, a single mother, and now also the sole caretaker and provider for my ailing father. By night, I am a single mother, sole caretaker for my father, and also a full-time college student. That means I work long days, and more often than not, long sleepless nights. I have enjoyed being a part of the Marion County family, but due to the recent years of extremely high inflation costs of rent, food, car insurance, gas, and now medical, I am nearly at the same place financially I was over 4 years ago when I began working for Marion County. With our cost of living increases and the over $100 a paycheck for medical, I have found myself in a position of still spending over 60% of my pay on rent alone, even though I have been promoted to make more income and bring home more income. It is important that the county takes into consideration how much the cost of inflation is now, the impact it has had on its employees, and why these employees, who are and have been dedicated to working for Marion County and the community that we serve, deserve an equitable and livable cost of living and more affordable medical coverage so that we can continue to serve Marion County, the community, but also for our families and ourselves.
Amanda,
Thank
what
you.
department do you work in?
Child Support Services.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, then we have Monica Gates. Welcome. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Monica Gates, and I'm with Family Support. So I have worked with Marion County for over 20 years. Every time it comes down to discuss a COLA raise, it is always a no, any percentage that we request. Out of the 20 years, we have received one COLA that is worth a little something, and that was the 5% for our last collective bargaining agreement, and I thank you. Now, over the years, they are usually 1.5, 2%, maybe a 2.5, but that has always been the highest in my 20 years. I would like for you to take into account that inflation has gone up 13.8% over the last 5 years. A family of 4 spends on the average here in Oregon $300 a week just in groceries. Gas prices are at $4 a gallon. This year's rent increase has was approved for 10%, and that's nearly equal to the 9.9% that was approved back in 2022. I pay $1,800 a month in rent. That is 38% of my family's pay. Electricity, water, sewage, garbage, cell phone, car insurance, it all continues to increase every year. Health insurance went up last year and added another expense of a little over $100 per check. Again, it is important that the county takes into consideration how much the cost of inflation is now and the impact it has had on our employees, and why these employees, who are and have been dedicated to working for Marion County and the community we serve, deserve an equitable and livable COLA and more affordable medical coverage so that we can continue to serve Marion County, the community, and also our families and ourselves.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Appreciate your service. Okay, do we have another list? Is that it?
Brenda, is there any more on the list?
Anybody else want to sign up? If
Great.
not, then we'll go to Alice. Welcome.
Morning.
Good morning. Last but not least,
Yes.
welcome.
Last but not least, thank you. I'm Alice Robinson. I work for Health and Human Services.
What division?
The
What-
division, EHR,
Thank you.
yes. Dear members of the board, we, the workers of Marion County, come before you today, united and in solidarity. It is with shared dedication to our community and a commitment to public service that we deliver this petition. Throughout the challenges of the pandemic, soaring inflation rates, and an unstable economic environment, we have construed and continued to work tirelessly to provide crucial services to the residents of Marion County. Many of us now find ourselves struggling just to make ends meet, with some unable to even afford basic necessities such as rent. In fact, some of our dedicated workers are relying on food banks and various services in the community that is provided, such as WIC, in order to feed their families, further highlighting the financial strain that we face daily. In light of the challenges faced by our hardworking employees, it is crucial to recognize that Marion County enjoys a position of financial stability and a healthy surplus. The county's economic standings afford ample resources, to provide fair and just compensation and benefits to the dedicated workers who contribute significantly to the county's operation and success. We believe it is reasonable and imperative for the county to prioritize the financial security and well-being of its workforce and to prove to us that our contributions to the county are valued. As the backbone of the workforce that serves the public, we take immense pride in our roles. However, the current 12.4% vacancy rate across the county poses a significant threat to our ability to continue delivering essential services. Many workers are being lured away by the state and neighboring counties, offering in better benefits, hybrid working options, and improved health care plans. While we appreciate the 5 and 5 COLA increase from the last 2 years, it has not kept pace with the inflation rates. Since 2016, inflation rates has risen by 36%, while our wages have only risen by 22%, causing us to be 14% behind the inflation, while the commissioner's wages have risen by 42%, far outpacing the inflation. Additionally, the burden of the exorbitant increase of out-of-pocket healthcare costs have added further strain on our already stretched budgets and finances. The mental health crisis in Marion County underscores the urgency of our plea. Without the necessary support and resources, we are unable to hire qualified mental health specialists to address this growing need. By investing in us, you not only support the workers, but also the entire community. We ask that you heed our call for support by honoring our dedication and supporting us with better benefits and pay, which will not only retain our current workforce, but will also attract new talent to serve the public effectively and efficiently. The overwhelming support and signatures behind this delegation are testament to the united front that we present today on this very ask. Thank you for your time and consideration. We look forward to your support and collaboration in making Marion County a better place for all and settling a fair contract. Thank you for your time. I would like to present and respectfully submit to the Board of Commissioners a petition of signatures asking to support our bargaining contract.
Great. We give that to
May I
Scott.
approach?
Yeah, thank you. Alice, thank you. And I want to thank everybody who is here for their service to Marion County citizens and really appreciate the work that you do. Thank you for being here today. Any comments? Okay, great.
Because, Mr. Chair, if I would, I have a comment just because I've been thinking about it. Inflation's super rough, and I do think that that's something that you hear a lot of in the news, and it's also, it makes everybody poorer, right? But it also makes the county poorer as well. Everything costs us more, and so I do think that's something that we're all in the same boat on. You know, when the government prints a bunch of money, it makes it harder for us to buy goods and services. It makes it harder for citizens in our community to buy goods and services. So yeah, so that's something that's hard, but it's not something that I know that we can fix, really. It's something that we're also, the county is also poor when the federal government prints money like that. So I think that's
Good.
that's real.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks again for being here. You're welcome to stay and as we conduct the rest of our business. Appreciate again every one of you and the service that you provide to the citizens of Marion County. So our next item after public comment is a presentation by the Oregon Garden Foundation. It's your annual report. And I think Ken Hector's here, Kelly's here. Who else?
Dylan Kitchen is
Dylan. Oh, good to see you again. Have a great day. Thanks, Alice.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for having us. We're excited to present our annual review. It's been a year. We were last here in June of 2023. Oh, sorry, I just shouted my name, so.
Yeah, you were here.
I'm Dylan Kitchen, and I'm the Director of Operations for the Oregon Garden. So I'm going to go through a little presentation showing some of what we've been doing over the last year. We've had a number of projects that we've undertaken. So this is the renovation of our rose petal fountain. Those of you who have been out to the garden before may recognize this. It's an iconic feature of the garden, and after 25 years, it was overgrown and beginning to fail, and we were incredibly lucky to receive a number of donations towards this project. We received approximately 300 one-gallon boxwood plants from Woodburn Nursery and Azaleas to replace the boxwood that had been there prior, as well as a generous donation from one of our longtime volunteers for the brick that went in. And as you can see, it was a lot of work here. We did a lot of trenching. There was some masonry involved, but we did get it planted just a couple of weeks ago, and the fountain is now back on and ready for our guests to enjoy. The Oregon Garden was incredibly lucky to receive $150,000 from Travel Oregon in the form of a grant to improve accessibility at the Oregon Garden, which we're incredibly excited about. So one of the projects that those funds were used towards was restriping a lot of our parking lots, particularly for the creation of some additional ADA parking spaces, as well as, you can see here, making those more legible for our guests so that they can more easily find where they can park when they're visiting us. We also use those funds to repave some of the most badly damaged portions of our tram path. We have about approximately 1 mile of paved tram path throughout the garden, and so as the name implies, this is where our tram drives. But because it's such a wide and paved road, it's also the path that's most often used by our guests with disabilities or with mobility issues, also parents walking strollers. And so we repaired some of the areas that had been damaged by roots and water over the years to make this more easily accessible to our guests as well throughout the year. Youth education is something that's incredibly important to the Oregon Garden. It's central to our mission, and so we did a lot of that over the last 12 months. You can see here on the left is kids attending our annual Homeschool Day event, which is held in partnership with Oregon Forest Resources Institute. We have about 700 homeschool children come out for that event each year. And then on the right is our Earth Day event, which took place just this last April 20th, and we have approximately 3,000 members of our community come out for free on that day to engage with educational exhibitors. We don't forget about the adults. They like to do stuff too. We have had a really robust Garden University schedule last year and this as well. We have at least one, but oftentimes two or more workshops and lectures each month scheduled all the way out through the end of 2024. Here, some of our adult guests are doing floral arranging and wreath arranging, but we've also had class on composting, the benefits of ladybugs for your garden, earthquake preparedness, just a lot of different topics that we think are relevant to the members of our community. We had a lot of help growing the garden this last year. We have, it takes a lot of hands to keep our over 80 acres looking good. Here we have a work party that cleaned up our rose garden on the left, and then on the right is a group of Silverton adults with disabilities that came out and helped us clean up our driveway. And they liked it so much. This was their first time. They're now coming back on a monthly basis.
Oh, cool.
A lot of help. We have Silverton High School seniors came out for their annual work day. That's on the left there, and they're helping us clean our cut flower garden. In the middle are some of our ongoing weekly volunteers cleaning up our water wall, and on the right are some students from Oregon State University's horticulture program that came out and practiced some pruning on some trees that really needed it. We supported our community by spending some money with them. On the left here, actually, graciously, this work was donated by Mountain View Tree Service. They're our preferred vendor for tree pruning and removal. And they agreed to remove this large pine that was damaged in the 21 ice storm at no cost to us, which we were incredibly appreciative of. In the middle is a local company called James Roofing that is re-roofing our children's garden. This was a badly needed repair. The roof was beginning to fail, and this area is used for our approximately 5,000 students that come through our natural resources education program. And then lastly on the right is K&E Excavating, another local company that helped us take down Founders Square. So unfortunately, we learned last June that this structure had irreparably failed and needed to come down for safety reasons. However, we are currently in the process of working with Silver Creek Timber Works, who was the original constructor of the Founders Square, to put a replacement on that site, and that's scheduled to go up on July 1st, and we already have some commitments from donors towards that project. And a presentation wouldn't be complete without at least some picture of flowers. This is a little bit of what the garden looked like over the last 12 months. We have Mr. Ed, our sea serpent, in the bottom left during some beautiful snow that we had this past winter. Our bosque, of course, looking amazing in the fall. And then these other photos come from our Art in the Garden opening reception event, which we had just 2 weekends ago, and that was really successful. We have a lot of our public events coming up this summer, some new and some classics. We have our Music on the Lawn Summer Concert Series. That is an event that takes place 2 Thursdays from June through July, and one in September, or June through August, excuse me, and one in September as well. That's kicking off tomorrow, this Thursday, between 6 and 8 p.m., and you're of course all invited. We'll be having music from Inner Limits, as well as local winery, beer, and food as well, and guests can come enjoy the music, the food, drinks, and the garden after hours. I mentioned we just had our earthquake preparedness class, and that was actually with John Kubisak from Marion County, so we were excited for that partnership, and that went really well. We got a lot of good feedback on that class. We'll of course have our July 3rd fireworks celebration on July 3rd, and then our Art in the Garden event. I mentioned we had our opening reception, but that event, the art is on display through Memorial Day for guests to come enjoy. That's included with garden admission, and of course all the art is available for purchase, so we're making some money for ourselves as well as for the artists that we partner with. And with that, that wraps up my presentation. I will allow our board chair, Hector, to say some words, and then I'm sure we'll take any questions you might have.
Thank you very much. Good information.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, Ken Hector, Board Chair, Oregon Garden Foundation. Here to say a big thank you for not only your long time support of the garden, but for your continuing support of the garden. It's been a great partnership, and it continues through your attention to and your support of the garden, and it's very much appreciated. Dylan mentioned the challenges of maintaining an 80-acre botanical garden, and certainly we couldn't do that without partners, and so your continuing assistance to that has been critically important to us. If we go back to the recent past and the debt service that the garden had with the county and the terms for the resolution of that, one of those conditions was to continue to address the debt of the garden notes. As you'll recall, and I believe you have this in your packet, originally there were 137 garden notes that people had loaned to the garden dating back to around 2000, 2001. So there's 137 of those, totaling about $952,000. And we have been repaying that for the last several years on a quarterly basis based on funds available. As of today, and these are updated figures from what you have, because we were able to take care of a few more of them in the last 10 days. So we're down now to 35 remaining notes to be paid, and we reduced that number from the 952,000 to 302,000. So we continue to make some significant progress on that. And again, a great deal of that has been through partnership with the city of Silverton, who, as you're well aware, is a true partner. The city owns the footprint of that 80 acres. The foundation owns the infrastructure. And we're tied together because of the city's wastewater system. As you are well aware, between May and October, the city is required to not discharge their treated effluent into Silver Creek because of environmental concerns. And so that fully treated effluent comes up to the garden, where it receives additional tertiary treatment and then is spread across the garden for irrigation. So from an environmental standpoint, from a business standpoint, it was an excellent resolution many years ago. I mean, we didn't have much choice. The city was facing a $10,000 a day fine if they couldn't get out of the creek. And when you think about it, when you have to take 1 million plus gallons a day of treated effluent somewhere, where do you take that? There aren't a lot of options. And so the Reader's Digest version is it ended up in the formation of the garden. That was the true genesis of the garden. So anyway, we continue to resolve those garden notes. I will say that with paying them off, we're up to 10 of those note holders, rather than accept the money, donated it back to the garden, which is wonderful, because when they do, we just take that money and put it right back in the pot and pay the next ones in line. So it further helps us take care of those notes. So if things continue on the schedule we've been able to maintain in the last 3 years or so, hopefully in the next year and a half, 2 years, that remaining debt will be fully paid off. So we're pretty excited about that. And so again, that's a great deal to do with the partnership with the city, and certainly the assistance we've received over the years from Marion County, which has enabled us to take care of some of the aging infrastructure problems. You know, the garden's over 25 years old, and some of that stuff is wearing out, as Della was talking about with Foundry Square. And so we'll continue to face those kind of things. So between those kind of projects and then the opportunities for economic development, where that funding has been so critical to us, to allow us to do some of these things, to broaden the experience of the garden and to maintain it, to attract people to the garden in Silverton. It's great to be an integral part of Marion County economic development. So we appreciate all the thoughtfulness we received from the county. So thank you very much. Happy to answer any questions.
Great. You mentioned 25 years. You were just a small kid when that thing started, right?
Well, I was heavier,
Yeah.
taller, but
Yeah. Good. Kelly, did you have anything to add to the presentation?
No, they did a wonderful job. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioners, questions, comments?
No?
Nope.
I just make this comment, I always say it's the Oregon Garden, not the Marion County Garden. And I wrote a note down here, hopefully Representative Lewis or somebody can go grab you some money from the state. I was just thinking about that. I don't know if you've tried that, but it'd be great to see it become the Oregon Garden.
The Oregon-funded garden is what we need.
Yeah, right, yeah. Thank you, Ken and Kelton, thank you very much for what you've done to the garden. I know we did, forgive that debt, but you've taken it to a whole nother level. And to see all those projects and not be here to go, hey, we need some more, although I know you could use it, but it's really appreciated by us to see you take that and just move it forward.
thanks, Commissioner.
Yeah.
Ken also
But I'd
did,
be remiss in offering thanks if I didn't include Kelly. She's been a great partner every year when we have to put this together to coordinate it for us. So thanks to Kelly for her great work in supporting our presentation.
We are blessed, yeah. Thank you,
Ken does more than just support the garden. He also frees trapped commissioners who are at the garden. So
You want to tell us that
there was a time
I was
where
there
I was
that
visiting
day.
the garden and I overstayed my welcome and the garden closed and I couldn't figure out how to get out and I didn't know what to do and so I called Ken and Ken jailbroke me out of the Oregon Garden. So he's a servant and a leader.
Yeah. If you would have called me and asked me if you should let him out or not, I would have said no.
I knew better.
Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you all
Yeah.
very much.
And I love the music in the garden. That sounds like fun.
Come on by.
It's tomorrow night it
7
starts.
concerts, so come see us.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to see what's going on tomorrow night. All right,
Thank you.
see ya.
Thank you, nice to see
Thanks.
you.
Okay, we're done with that presentation. Commissioner Bethel, if you'd like to move the consent calendar.
Sure, I move to approve the consent calendar under Board of Commissioners OLCC license. Recommend approval for JJ's Mexican Food in Salem, Oregon. Under Finance, approve amendment number 3 to the purchase order with Robert Half International, Inc. to add $71,919.27 for a new contract total of $140,000 to continue to provide temporary staffing services through June 30th, 2024. Under Human Resources, approve the recommendation to adopt and establish a law enforcement assisted diversion lead navigator classification and pay range. Update the classification, adjust the pay grade upward for class code 134. Records specialist, sheriff's office, 140, deputy sheriff training enforcement, 144, deputy sheriff training institutions 154, deputy sheriff enforcement 181, deputy sheriff institutions 312, survey technician 1, 313, survey technician 2, and 317, survey technician 3. Under tax office, approve an order for a property tax refund in the amount of $72,661.29 for CR Village East Impact Communities LLC, tax account number 524301.
I second the motion.
A motion and a second on the consent calendar. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All right. First item under action. And the mayor is here with us today, and Larry, to consider approval of a intergovernmental agreement with the city of Mill City in the amount of $120,000 to complete an engineering and permitting planning package for bank stabilization for the Mill City Falls Park Planning Project through June 30th, 2025. Who's going to go first? All right.
Here.
Introduce yourself for the record.
Hey, good morning, Commissioners. My name is Larry Rupp, and I'm an Economic Development Specialist with Marion County's Community Services Department, joined here by Mayor Kirsch. This morning, the board is considering an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Mill City for $120,000 to complete an engineering and permitting planning package for bank stabilization at Mill City Falls Park. In 2023, Marion County received a $1 million appropriation to support community planning projects in the North Santiam Canyon for long-term economic recovery and development. Marion County budgeted $120,000 to the City of Mill City to complete a planning project. We're joined today by Mayor of Mill City, Tim Kirsch, to discuss the city's proposed use of funds. With that quick introduction, I'll turn it over to Mayor Kirsch.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you very much for listening to what I have to say today. Mill City has been undergoing a lot of improvements that I'd like to say are coming along quite nicely. One big one is our parks projects, and we just completed a phase 1 of our park project as the entrance to Mill City, and we are moving into phase 2 with a grant through the state parks. And we had just put out for our contracting, our bids, received them, and then the retaining wall from where a former mill was in the early 1900s gave way and collapsed into the Santiam River. So we immediately withdrew the contracts that we had for that park improvement project, because that was going to be the center focus of where those monies were being spent. With that, we realized in order to move forward, we have to do some major engineering and figure out ways to remove the concrete and stuff from the river, things like that. So in order to rehabilitate that whole area, we need to do some contracting with engineering services to figure out just what is available to do. Being on the river, you can't just go through and start pulling chunks of cement out of the river or working on the river banks, obviously. Opal Creek Promise money is where we're hoping this money is actually coming from, which was monies that were federal monies that were promised to the communities in the North Santiam Canyon, 25 years ago. And quite honestly, we'd given up hope on ever seeing any of those monies. And if it wasn't for Marion County stepping up and going to bat for us and getting that money procured from the federal government, we would never have seen a dime of this. So we appreciate all that the Marion County does in supporting the North Santiam Canyon, and I'm totally on board with the Marion County Board of Commissioners figuring out where all that money can be used in economic development throughout the North Santiam Canyon. We feel that this is a very important part for the city of Mill City as far as economic development goes. So once again, I want to thank you for all your support in all the projects. I know that you guys have the very difficult job of figuring out how to divvy up those monies, because everybody wants some and everybody needs more and more and more. And obviously it's always ongoing, but you folks do a fantastic job of supporting us, and we certainly appreciate it. Thank you.
Questions?
Just a comment. Mill City is looking really good these days, Mayor. There's been it's been fun for me over the years to just see, from the bridge project that you guys did and the redevelopment that's happening. I mean, it's a pretty exciting time to be mayor of Mill City, I imagine.
We've been very fortunate. Small communities like us rely on grants. We rely on monies coming down the line from either the state or the federal government. And it was actually one of your Marion County employees that got us the federal grant to rehabilitate the railroad bridge into a pedestrian pathway. It also rehabilitated the vehicle traffic bridge going through town that was in decline and needed some pretty big, significant repairs, and paved one of the main streets in town and redid the sidewalks and everything there. So that was a big federal grant that one of your Marion County employees helped us procure. Along with that, there's many other things that I want to say we just couldn't do without the support of our big brothers and sisters.
Could be younger brothers.
Yeah, easy does it. That can have a different connotation depending on how you use that.
All right. Any questions? Good?
No,
All right.
good.
So we'll take a motion.
All right. Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the intergovernmental agreement with the City of Mill City in the amount of $120,000 to complete an engineering and permitting planning package for bank stabilization for the Mill City Falls Park Planning Project through June 30th, 2025.
I second the motion.
Yeah, motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Thank you
Mayor,
very much, Commissioners.
Thanks for coming
Jan,
down.
nice to
Kelly,
see
thank
you. See you.
Larry, thank you. Kelly, thank you for all your work on this. And of course, Chris. Yeah. Okay. Our next item, is Jeff here?
That's not
Yep. Okay. So, I see his name, but we're not going to have him. Consider approval of an amendment number 1 to contract for services with Moss Adams to add $559,165 for a new contract total of $1,387,445 and extend the term date to May 31st, 2027 for annual audit services.
Good morning, Commissioners. Excuse me, my name is Sherry Downs. I'm the Controller with Marion County. Marion County Finance Department requests approval of Amendment 1 to contract FI 2853-19 with Moss Adams for annual audit services. The amendment will reinstate the contract and extend the term through May 31st, 2027. It will add funding to cover 3 more fiscal audit years. And, I'm sorry, I lost my place. Marion County is required to have an outside audit completed every year by Oregon law. The contract with Moss Adams was awarded in 2019 as a result of a formal request for a proposal process. The procurement process allowed for total contract terms of 10 years and awarded the contract include options to extend the term beyond the initial contract. The amendment adds $559,165 to the contract for the extension period. The amended contract value is $1,387,445. Marion County's finance has been very happy with the services of Moss Adams for the last 5 years, and we'd really like to continue with them at least through the new ERP.
Okay. Any questions?
No, I appreciate the consistency that we'll have with this group.
Yeah.
Because of the major change that we're gonna have with our system, I think it's important to have a contractor, frankly, that, you know, can go through all the lines to make sure it's all transposing or whatever accurately.
Yes.
Into this major electronic system that I know everyone's excited yet anxious for.
Yes, very much so. And they actually are starting next week with their interim audit, so we'll get
Good.
to start working with them.
Okay,
Yeah, they've done a good job.
yeah.
Yeah, very, very nice to work with, very helpful when we have questions. So we've appreciated their support.
And their comments about you, Sherry, and the department were
Yeah,
very,
glowing.
glowing. So really
Yeah.
appreciates, and all the awards that we've gotten from finance over the years. Thank you very much for carrying on that tradition here at Marion County.
You're welcome,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
We love that you love your work.
I do.
I'm glad you do.
I like a little bit of accounting, but not that much.
I don't at all. I don't enjoy it at all, which is why I love people like Sherry.
Yeah, I'd say you're the most accounting minded of the three of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
You ready for a motion?
you bet.
I
Thank
move to approve amendment number 1 to the contract for services with Moss Adams to add $559,165 for a new contract total of $1,387,445 and extend the term date to May 31st, 2027 for annual audit services.
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Great.
All
Thanks,
right,
Sherry.
thank you.
Thanks, Sherry. Okay, next item, Public Works consider adoption of an administrative ordinance granting zone change, case number 21-010, Landon Hatton. Austin, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. So, the Marion County Hearings Officer held a duly noticed public hearing on January 6, 2022, and on January 18, 2022, issued a decision approving the request. The board received the decision and held the application for the mandatory appeal period. No appeals were received. The ordinance and findings have been prepared and notice of adoption was given on May 29th, 2024. The administrative ordinance is now set for final consideration and adoption. Unless there's an appeal, the zoning code provides that the board does not have to hold a hearing on this request because it's for a zone change only, and the comprehensive plan is not changing, and the underlying commercial comprehensive plan designation, the underlying multifamily comprehensive plan designation will remain the same. And I'll stand for any questions you guys have.
All right. Questions on this?
Any questions? No.
All right.
All right, ready for motion?
I am.
Mr. Chair, I move
We are.
that we adopt the administrative ordinance granting zone change, case number 21-010, land in Hatton.
I second the motion.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All right, Austin, you're still up. Here we go. Consider adoption of an administrative ordinance granting zone change, case number 22-003, 36th Street property.
Do you feel like we're making this too easy on you?
No, these ones should hopefully be easy though.
What? What'd you say?
So do you feel like we're making this too easy on you? Do you want a little bit more of a challenge?
Yeah.
He got them here, that was the challenge.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
You're correct about that, actually. A little blip in the radar on these,
That's
but
right.
we're here, we're good.
As I say, when you get to a yes, keep going.
Exactly. Smart advice right there. So for this one, the Marion County Hearings Officer held a duly noticed public hearing on May 31st, 2022, and on June 3rd, 2022, issued a decision approving the request. The board received the decision and held the application for the mandatory appeal period, and no appeals were received. The ordinance and findings have been prepared and notice of adoption was given on May 29th, 2024, and the administrative ordinance is now set for final consideration and adoption. This is the same as the last one where the comprehensive plan was not changing. Therefore, the board does not need to hold a public hearing on it, and I will stand for any questions you may have.
All right. None?
None. I move to approve the adoption of administrative ordinance granting zone change, case number 22-003, 36th Street Property LLC.
A second motion.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. That completes our action items for the day. It is way past 9:30, so we will open the public hearing to continue a public hearing from February 21st, 2024 to consider an amendment to the Marion County's comprehensive plan amending the City of Almsville urban growth boundary. You didn't even have to move. There you go.
Great.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Just introduce yourself again for the
Yes,
record.
Austin Barnes, Marion County Planning, address 5155 Silverton Road Northeast. On October 23rd, 2023, the City of Almsville held a public hearing to consider a 22.57 acre amendment to the urban growth boundary for a new city park. And on November 2nd, 2023, the city submitted its adopting ordinance with a letter requesting the county concur in the expansion. On January 10th, 2024, the Marion County Board of Commissioners approved a resolution initiating amendments to the county comprehensive plan to consider concurring in the amendment to the City of Almsville urban growth boundary and scheduled a public hearing for February 21st, 2024. The hearing was held and neighbors attended and raised concerns regarding the proposal. So the hearing was continued and the city completed additional public outreach. They had an open house where those neighbors and additional neighbors attended, talked with the city about the proposal, went through more details. I then contacted the city afterwards, and I also contacted the neighbors who attended the public hearing. They did not have any additional concerns that were raised such that they felt this process should be stalled or anything like that. The primary concerns, the things they were interested in would kind of more, how would the road look after this was developed? Would there be sidewalk improvements, infrastructure improvements, things like that? But no concerns related to the park surrounding them. And so with that, we brought it before you again for this public hearing to consider concurring in the amendment to the City of Almsville urban growth boundary expansion. And with that, I'll answer any questions you have. I also believe we've got Jesse here, and I believe some representatives from the city as well. I believe Ron should be here from the city if you guys would like to ask them any questions.
Great. Since they are the promoters of this, Jesse, if you'd like to come up, or anybody else you want to bring with you. I see Ron's there. up to you.
My name is Jesse. Oops, sorry.
It is, the red line
Yeah, I
actually
just need
makes
to,
it.
yeah, really close
Off. Should
for
be
the
green.
microphone. Yeah.
All right, thank you. My name is Jesse Winterroad with Winterbrook Planning, 610 Southwest Alder Street, Suite 810 in Portland. I would like to just give a little bit of context here.
Pull that microphone really close to you.
For what we're
You
doing?
can move it.
Yeah.
Yep, there you go.
Okay. Does this work?
I hope,
Just
yeah.
assert your voice and then you
I'll,
can hear
I'll
you.
try to speak louder.
There you
Being the
go.
reporter in the
They'll let
background.
us know if they can't hear it back there.
Okay, well, I'm glad to be back here today, but I just wanted to contextualize what we're doing here. The city got a state grant to do an update to their Goal 8 section of the comprehensive plan, which is the recreation needs. They were given a population to work with that led to a need for various types of parkland. They had a consultant who was a landscape architect update that comprehensive plan section with their master development plan for parks, right? So that led to evaluation of park needs across the city. And also, it reconfirmed something that had been in the plan since the 90s, that they needed an East Side community park. That's when I was brought in to say, well, okay, well, how do we then actually achieve this East Side community park? There's a need for 20-plus acres of land on the east side. We have to go through a process with the county, with the state, that meets statutory regulatory requirements. And so that's the application we put together. What it's not is an application for even annexation or zone change. It's an area of land that's brought into the urban growth boundary. After it's brought into the urban growth boundary, if you concur, then the city can go through annexation or zone change, and then the city can try to find funding and design and complete the program for the park. And in order to do that, they'll need to go through site development review, which is noticed, that has an opportunity for a public process, another public process, so a third public process, and then through that, there's opportunity to appeal. There's working with Marion County's transportation, working with ODOT, all of those pieces in order to then engineer, design a park. So right now we are at the very early end of this whole process, which is finding land to expand the urban growth boundary and eventually be able to build a park. Because right now we're not at that point where we can actually build a park. It's not allowed. So that's just context. And I appreciate what the neighbor said, and they should have been more engaged in the process at the beginning. But to be clear, it was for the entire city, not just this piece. This is one piece of the puzzle, and I think the city's done a good job of following up on your direction and talking to neighbors and making sure that they're heard, so that when there's annexation and zone change, and also then after that funding and development of a park, that those concerns can be part of that process, at the front end. And that's where we are now. It's the very front end of that. So that's the context.
Great.
Just like the
questions for Jesse, or do we want to just keep going?
Yeah.
Well, Austin did a really good job of kind of summarizing what
Just
we've...
introduce yourself for the record, please, Ron.
Ron Harding, City Administrator for the City of Elmsville. I think Austin did a good job of summarizing the outreach. We've actually, as you commissioners know, this has been a long-term plan. That particular property is really the only property on the east side that met the size requirement, and that goal was in place when I arrived back in 2016. I think it was 2019 we actually purchased the property. And it was shortly after that I started to engage county residents surrounding that property. Not everybody, but a number of those county residents. We went through a pretty extensive park planning process. We did one in 2018, which identified this property, and then in 2022 and 2023, specifically to go through that master plan process for this park. Other than that, I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much, both of you. All right.
Thank you.
We're gonna, I'm gonna call Darren and Chris Gilbert. Good morning, welcome.
Good morning. I'm Chris Gilbert, and we're the neighbors, obviously, you remember that they were referring to. And I wholeheartedly say that we were contacted. There was a community meeting. There were several neighbors that were there. We were listened to, and we were able to ask questions. And so I think what you were asking the city to do, the city did. You know, I would, the challenge for us is all the information that we have is the plan. And if you were to look at the plan, which is very well developed, and you live near it, you would be concerned about the level of development that would be around that park. That's why we're here. That's why we are glad to have your support and your ear. And hopefully that would continue through the process. The city completely followed what you asked them to do. We'd be remiss not to say that happened. I think there's concerns that we will need to raise as the process and the plans are finalized. And I would hope that you would continue to have an ear into that process to make sure that the residents that live around the park are heard and have a chance to have the input as what that final project looks like. I don't think anybody in the surrounding neighborhood says, no, we don't want any kind of park there. I don't think that's really the point, and that's not our point of being here. I just want to make sure that our rights and our voices are continued here through the process, because anything that happens in the park directly affects us.
I'm Darren Gilbert. We live on Bishop Road, and our property is surrounded on 3 sides by the park property. So we are the most directly impacted people in this whole project. I'll second what Chris says. Thank you to you commissioners for asking the city of Almsville to hear from the neighbors. Ron and the other folks from the city did a great job putting together an opportunity for us to provide input. I think one of the disconnects for us as neighbors, we see this beautiful, detailed, complete park plan and immediately jump way through this process. As Jesse was suggesting, we're at the very beginning. But when you see something that specific, it's hard not to take leaps. Most of the questions from surrounding neighbors, questions and concerns, were about infrastructure and the impact of lighting, sewer, water, roads, traffic, parking, emergency vehicle access, because those impact our quality of life. But apparently those are questions that all have to be answered later. So we have to be patient. Never been through this process before, don't know how it all works. But as the process continues, like Chris said, I think that there will be a lot of neighbors who want to be involved in how this all gets rolled out.
Great, good. Okay. Questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
I just have a comment. Thank you for being engaged in this process and for engaging constructively with the city. When we partnered with the city of Kaiser to put some soccer fields up by their park, and I remember working with their neighbors there. And I think they just have like a more, because that park's been in existence for a while, their neighbors have a more sort of robust engagement and ongoing engagement with the city. And I think it's a really healthy thing. And it's sort of, I think sometimes, I'm in this boat, you can think, well, are they even gonna listen? Do they care? That sort of stuff, right? And, and what I saw with Kaiser is the neighbors there by that, what is it, what park is it?
Kaiser Rapids Park.
Rapids Park.
It's a regional park.
Yeah, they're very engaged with the city, and it's sort of like nothing.
It's also in
you
the
know,
direct backyard of about 19 homes.
Yeah, so I just saw that process, and it's an ongoing thing. It's not a one-time thing. They've been doing it for years. So I just encourage you to stay engaged with the city. I've just have seen that in this particular type of thing with parks, engagement by the neighbors on the development of the park is super important at the local level. So I just want to thank you for doing that work.
Good. Thank you very much. And I'll echo his comments that you're engaged is great. And I know the city appreciates the engagement as well. And we won't have a lot to do after this process here, but I'm sure that you have a city councilor. Did you want to come up and say anything this morning? City councilor, you got the administrator here, you got consultants.
Delacini, City of Almsville Council President, and I just want to say that we did have a good meeting. I have met several of the residents around town afterwards, and they all appreciated what we said and did and explained the process to them. So I think we have a better understanding of what they're concerned about, and they understand that we are working through a process now and that the answers will come as we get there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, appreciate your service. It's good to see you this morning.
You too.
Other than outside of stats.
That's
Well,
right.
We're not going to talk about that. All right.
I do have actually,
Back
Ron,
to-
I have a question for Ron.
Ron, do you want to come
Yeah.
back up?
Thank you for coming back up. So I know you didn't have the chance to be here in person during our last hearing, but I know I was told that you watched it back to kind of hear the conversations that we had and to mostly listen to the concerns that commissioners expressed. But I just wanted to share with you today on the record that my concern is that it's not a requirement of the process for the city to go above and beyond for people that are not in the city limits. And so I'm formally asking you today to make a commitment to us in this decision to mail future notices to residents in the county on Bishop Road that would be directly impacted by this park. I appreciate the narrative that you post in, I live in the county of Almsville, not in the city limits of Almsville myself, and I don't get newsletters, and I don't actively pursue social media because it's just noise and I'm not interested, frankly. So I have to reach out to you or others to really get information if I want it, and I would think that residents would do the same if they knew, but they don't. And that was kind of what led us to the process for us to hold this off and ask you to do that former meeting of expansion of information and inclusion of them. And so really today, I'm just asking if you would make a commitment to notify them directly in writing of any future opportunities to engage in this process. I think it's the neighborly thing to do, but also I am very concerned for them to be surrounded by this park on three sides. I moved from Kaiser. I know very much well about Kaiser Rapids Park and the burden that those neighbors face for sporting activities, concerts, carnivals, etc. The city doesn't there interact with those residents as often. It actually is the Chamber of Commerce, which you don't have. So anyway, I'll let you answer my question.
Yeah. So just a couple of points. One is we've really engaged in an extensive public information campaign, not just about parks, but everything that the city is doing. So we have a accelerated, I guess, increase on all the social media outlets, our newsletter, our public postings. It's pretty robust, and our engagement with the community is actually up about 2,000% in the last 4 years. So we are doing that direct outreach. To some extent, I just want to make this comment, but then I'll address the park specifically. To some extent, all of our residents have to interact.
Sure.
You know, it's not a one-way communication channel. And so the information's there, and the two neighbors that were directly, who I feel are directly impacted, these are neighbors that their property is assimilated within the boundaries of the park. I did engage, and in fact, I believe it was before, I'll ask if that's correct with a nod maybe, but I believe it was before we even went through the master plan public meetings, but is that right? Yeah. And so we did directly engage with them. One of the commitments I made to everybody that came to the meeting, actually I made two. One was that we would do that. We would direct mail notices to all of the surrounding county residents. We would do that for any type of a land use approval process. So through any type of construction, when we went into the planning commission, and we go through that public process, we would mail folks that were within 100 feet. One of the things we decided is we were going to extend that to 300 to 600 feet. Anybody that was touching that adjacent to that property.
Thank you.
And then I also made a commitment for those folks that are within the boundaries of that park that we would look at when we did go through the detailed planning process. We would make sure that we looked at methods of additional screening, noise reduction, things like that.
Wonderful. Thank you. I really appreciate the efforts. I know you did go through those efforts, and I appreciate that you're going to do the mailing because I think that's important. And
we want to be good neighbors.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it. Good. Okay, take a motion, close the public hearing and,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, that.
All right, Mr. Chair, I move that we close the public hearing and, I guess, concur with or approve an amendment to Marion County's comprehensive plan amending the city of Almsville's urban growth boundary.
I second the motion.
Good, counsel?
That's good.
Yeah.
Good. Approving the amendment.
Approved.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the amendment and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. We are done there, so we'll go back to our regular board session. Any discussion about anything? Thank you all for being here and all the work that goes into improving communications amongst ourselves. Thank you very much.
And communities.
Yeah. Right. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Austin, you're 3 for 3 today.
Well done.
Keep it up. All right. Anything before we adjourn?
I don't think so.
All right. Well,
I guess I'll just put a plug in really quick. So Monday is the Believe in Your Community K-9 Golf Tournament fundraiser for Marion County Sheriff's Office. I'm excited. This is my first year of having the availability to go, so I'm going to be there participating with the sheriff and harassing golfers. And they're still looking for raffle prizes. So for anybody that wants to donate to the raffle to help them raise money, the money goes specifically to the K-9 program in Marion County, and it also supports other programs that Believe in Your Community does to enhance the opportunity to connect youth to law enforcement in a positive way. So that's on Monday.
Well, you know, I've been out there a couple times. One time, it wasn't that warm, and I was sitting in the
Did you do a dunk tank?
I did the dunk tank.
Good for you.
And I got out there late in the afternoon after a lot of people had been in that water, and it was not the most fun thing.
Good for you.
Great. I will not be here with you next week.
Okay.
I'll
be on time.
And then I think the next week we're not having a board session. We're not having a board session, but just want to say thank you for getting through May, and we're here in June, and it's great to see the next 7-day forecast being
Nice.
Yeah.
We should say congratulations to all of the high school graduates that are
Yes,
going on
there
this
you
week. Today,
go.
my daughter graduates from high school.
Congratulations.
It's my second. I'm 2 for 3. I got 1 more to go.
Well,
And
Austin's ahead of you. He's 3 for 3.
Well, only today.
Yeah.
And this is much less complicated than what she had to endure.
It's not a race, but she's winning.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
If that's it, we will adjourn.